A very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. I'm Michaela Fernando. Before we head into more stories in detail, here's a look at headlines.
Sri Lanka's $1.5 billion loan program with the International Monetary Fund has been extended by 1 year. Former Minister Vijay Dasa's revelation about the bond scam. Illegal sand mining in the Min area Oya raided. Indian pilot Abhinandan Vardhaman to be handed over to India today.
In your top story, Reuters reports that Sri Lanka's $1.5 billion loan program with the International Monetary Fund has been extended by 1 year. It further noted that a staff-level agreement has been reached to disburse the 6th tranche of the loan. The $1.5 billion loan program commenced in 2016 and IMF has decided to extend it by another year. The loan has been disbursed in 4 installments since its commencement, and up to now $1 billion of the agreed $1.5 billion loan has been disbursed. The loan program was delayed in November 2018 by the IMF due to the political uncertainty in the country at that time. The decision to disburse the remaining loan amount was agreed following discussions held between the Minister of Finance Mangala Samaraweera and several other officials and the IMF Managing Director and Chairwoman Christine Lagarde last year. Accordingly, several officials of IMF arrived in the country and investigated matters pertaining to the discussion. The Balamandala meeting of the JVP for the Mathura district was held yesterday under the patronage of parliamentarian Sunil Handunetti.
How should we find answers for the downfall of the economy? Selling drugs or borrowing money? Nevertheless, these are source of income of the country. Borrowing money and bringing down drugs. Can we fix such a country? If not, what should we do to recover the fallen economy of the country? There should be a set of policies established in a way the income disparity is reduced. We saw Ranil Wickramasinghe speak about the Enterprise Sri Lanka project, public-private partnerships. However, there is a national intellectual program called the 4Ps, Public-Private People's Partnership. That is a new concept in the world. Here in our country, a few organizations get together and rob the government. The state businesses are robbed by a few. The state businesses in the country are there to destroy the economy. The money earned by the people of this country doesn't go to the treasury or the revenue department. The money earned through the customs doesn't get to the customs. All of this goes one way through the electricity board, another way through the petroleum corporation, through the road development authority, and through the national water supply and drainage board.
A protest was staged by the residents of Balagama last night. The residents alleged that the factories that are operating in the Balagama investment promotion zone released wastewater to the Kalani River without purifying it. The area residents of Malvana gathered near a canal yesterday, claiming that wastewater is being released to this canal. The protesters stated that if solutions are not given within the day, they will protest again.
BOI is sending wastewater to the Kalani River from here. When we complain, they stop. Again in the night, they release it. There is a bad odor. If a solution is not given, we will block all the roads from here and stage a protest.
A raid was carried out by the Hingurakkoda police at a location in the Min area Oya where unauthorized sand mining was taking place. The unauthorized sand mining has been taking place in the Hingurakkoda Gal Amuna area. Our correspondent in the area stated that according to the information received by the Divisional Secretary Indika Karunaratna, the raid was carried out by the Hingurakkoda police and the Divisional Secretary office officials. 33 cubic meters of sand and a tractor were taken into police custody. Police stated that the suspects had escaped when the raid was being carried out. Investigations are being carried out to locate the suspects and arrest them. The sand and the tractor that was taken into police custody is due to be produced before the Hingurakkoda District Court. Still in local news, the time given for the registration of mechanical saws has been extended till the 15th of this month. The Defence Ministry stated that government, semi-government, private sector companies and private mechanical saws should be registered before the 15th of this month at the nearest police station. For identification of the registered saws, a special license and a number plate will be issued. The main goal of this is to control the destruction of forests and to stop trafficking that happens using mechanical saws and to regulate the felling of trees. On the instructions of the President, the registration of mechanical saws began on the 20th and was due to end yesterday. HR think tank of Sri Lanka, an alliance of senior HR professionals who will come together to uplift the standards of HR fraternity in Sri Lanka, was launched yesterday.
It was launched by the Association of HR Professionals in collaboration with the Society of Human Resource Management in Colombo. Many HR professionals across the country participated in the event. SHRM works closely with AHRP in Sri Lanka for strategic HR initiatives. In the past few years, SHRM has partnered with AHRP to conduct the Human Capital Management Awards in Sri Lanka as a knowledge partner. The HR think tank of Sri Lanka was inaugurated with several objectives, including the development of standards of the HR profession in Sri Lanka.
The Police Narcotic Bureau today requested the 4th Magistrates Court to issue open warrants in English to be sent to Interpol in order to arrest 5 big-time drug peddlers who have fled to Dubai and are involved in sending the single largest haul of heroin ever to be seized in Sri Lanka. On the 24th of February, police discovered 294 kilograms and 490 grams of heroin inside 2 vans parked at the basement car park in a mall. The narcotics seized have a street value of over 3,533 million rupees, which is over 3.5 billion rupees. The 2 suspects who were arrested along with the heroin were remanded until the 15th of March by court. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara, speaking to Newsfirst, said information has come to light to confirm 5 big-time drug peddlers, including Anthony Michael Morrill and Koskada Sujit, currently in Dubai, were involved in sending the single largest haul of heroin ever to be seized in Sri Lanka. He added steps will be taken to issue a blue notice on them via Interpol. In more local news, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate into acts of corruption and frauds which occurred in state institutions in 2015 to 2018 has decided to consider a complaint filed against Minister Lakshman Kiriyalla. The Commission said the respective documentation was directed to its police unit along with the complaint for preliminary stages of the inquiry.
It is reported the complaint was filed by the Planters Association of Ceylon. The complaint notes Kiriyalla has given 50, 20 and 10 acres of lands owned by Janata Estates Development Board in Hanthana to his wife, daughter and relatives respectively in violation of the government regulations. In addition, the Presidential Commission had withdrawn its attention towards a complaint on a 1 billion rupee fraud said to have taken place when importing cancer drugs through the State Pharmaceutical Corporation of Sri Lanka. This complaint was filed by the Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. Accordingly, the Presidential Commission has so far selected 7 complaints for inquiry. The Commission has received almost 295 complaints.
An international symposium on strengthening community resilience and humanitarian response through localized DRRM platforms is currently underway in Manila in Philippines.
The event commenced under the patronage of the Executive Director of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, Ricardo Bichalad. The symposium has been organized by the Asia-Pacific Alliance for Disaster Management and saw the participation of several delegates from across the world. Director and General Manager of Newsfirst, Asad Kamal Siri, attended the symposium representing Newsfirst.
Before. This is where in 2016-2017 in Sri Lanka, when we had those landslides and the floods, where we lost 200 in 2016, another 300 in 2017. And we said 2018, we can't lose any more people. And APAC came up with this concept about zero death policy if this happened. And we couldn't do it alone. We worked with the government, but more than that, we needed to reach out to the people, the grassroots level, at the district level, the people who will be actually affected. And this is where we joined hands with the media, and the media representative is already here, that is from Gammantha, or that is a program which was carried out by the Maharaja TV organization group, which has 3 TV stations as well as 5 radio stations. And they had the reach to the people. They were working with the grassroots. They had their local reporters. They had their divisional supporters. They had their village level reporters who could give us the exact information and who could just gather many hundreds of people over a call. And we worked with them with regards to preparing this. And to say it was an extremely successful activity.
In your top political story, MP Vijayadasa Rajapaksa expressed his views regarding the central bank bond scam during a media briefing yesterday.
Yesterday was a day where we will have to mourn for another 100 years. It was the 27th of February. Mark that in the calendar. It has been 4 years since the central bank robbery. In this country, always the ruling party had 90% of the rogues. Others cannot rob. If you steal 7 to 8 coconuts, can you get bail in 2 to 3 weeks? However, where are those who robbed the central bank? Was the governor brought down? After the first or second cabinet meeting, Arjuna Mahendran was a well-known criminal in the country. When he was at the BOC, he was well known for the corruption. Prime Minister presents a cabinet paper. I opposed it. Ranjit Senaratne opposed it. So did partly Champika Ranamaka. We stressed not to do this. However, the Prime Minister said the only person who could help solve the issues of this country would be Arjuna Mahendran. He said this is absolutely necessary. They didn't allow us even to go to the next cabinet paper. He pleaded with the President. Then the President gave the approval with hesitation. That is how they appointed him. That is why the Prime Minister said the whole responsibility lies with him and that he can bring him down from Singapore. So bring him now if you can. After the day of the bond scam at 9 o'clock, I received all the documents related to it. Photocopies of all the documents were received. On that day itself, I gave them to the Prime Minister. I told him a massive scam has taken place. I asked him what we are going to do. He took the files from me and left. He must be having it still.
Former Chief Minister of the North Central Province, SM Ranjit, expressed his views regarding the bond scam on a media briefing in Anuradhapura.
Right now, Arjuna Mahendran is free. Speaking about Arjuna Mahendran, the country has failed to enforce the law. The people of the country say that Ranil Wickremesinghe and the people of the UNP should be held responsible for this. There is no law for that. The rogues are out in the open. On behalf of the people, we demand that those who are involved in the bond scam be arrested and the damages be recovered. It is not bringing down Madhus that should be given priority. It should be to bring down Arjuna Mahendran, who has robbed the people's money.
The 20th edition of the Sri Lanka Air Force Cycle Tour began today in line with the 68th anniversary of Sri Lanka Air Force. The tour is jointly organized by the Sri Lanka Air Force Cycling Union and the Cycling Federation of Sri Lanka. MTV MBC is the media sponsor for the event.
The cycle tour commenced at the Sri Lanka Air Force headquarters this morning. Several senior personnel of the Sri Lanka Air Force, senior management of the Capital Maharaja organization and several others attended the event. The cyclists are eagerly waiting for the Air Force cycle tour to be held. As you mentioned, the Air Force cycle tour is the Sri Lankan comparison to the Tour de France. This cycle tour is special. We have been joining hands with Sirasa for a long period of time. I remember 2 journalists attached to Sirasa were injured last time as well. They did not stop just because they were injured. They continued until the end. We must remember that the distance of this cycle tour is 414 kilometers.
We should do what we can for the progress of our motherland, for our youth and our future generations. That should not be limited to the government. It should not be limited to the private sector or the security forces. We all have a responsibility to achieve this. I believe this is one such opportunity. Sirasa and the Sri Lanka Air Force do not remain stagnant. It will always move forward. We have been moving forward together for 25 years. We will continue to do so.
And that is a wrap of lunchtime news. For all these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Have a good day.